Okay, this is an interesting question. Have you ever experienced doubt in our relationship? And how do you express doubt?
I guess maybe like right at the beginning when I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did right at the beginning, and then like, you know, just before you're getting married and like everything's like a bit confusing and there's just so much going on because of wedding, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get married to this person. No,
Really?
no.
As in, no, seriously, I want to know.
Yeah,
It's a good
I
question.
think probably just at the beginning when everything was so up in the air, because like, you know, as I'm sure in most cultures, but in our cultures, like the man should have a job and the man should be the breadwinner, and like
which is not true.
You should have which is not true. And he should have everything figured out before you get into a relationship with that person. Like everything should already be set before you even think about marriage. And we really didn't have that. And so I think probably at the beginning, but I was so lucky because my mum and dad really were just so okay that I naturally feel doubts can come into your mind when other people get in your mind. But I think I was quite sure. I felt like straight away, I knew I had a connection with you. I knew that your values and the person that you were, I just knew we would be able to grow so deeply together. And that's really what I was focusing on. And then I was so lucky that the rest of everything else fell into place. And I'm so grateful for that. But I knew that the core thing that I wanted in the relationship was there for us to grow deeper in our spiritual lives together. And that was the main focus for me. And then we started having fun. I was like, oh, he is fun. Like, he's just not just like a teacher and like just so deep, but you also were so fun. And all the things that I maybe hadn't thought about was important to me slowly started coming. And I was like, oh, that is really important to me. Gosh, I didn't realize that at the beginning that that's what I wanted. But yes, the doubt was definitely like taken away by me constantly going back to the fact that I wanted to be in that relationship with you for that reason. And yeah.
That's a good, honest answer. Yeah, I think my only doubt was always, and it's funny because it's so hard to express this, because I remember it was really funny when your family had mentioned this to you, and it was like, are you sure he's not going to run back and be a monk, right? And run back to the monastery. And it's so interesting because my only doubt in our relationship previously, not anymore, had ever been that, should I have been alone?
Yeah.
So my doubt was never like you or another person, or if you were the right person.
Yeah.
It's always been, it's either you or me being alone. And I think that comes from me loving being alone and spending so much time alone. And I think there was a part of our relationship where, because I was spending long periods on my own, I always considered that. And I had that consideration of like, oh, is this what I'm meant to be doing? Like, should I have done this? Like, I think a bit part of my doubt came from a bit of sadness that I was like, oh, am I taking her away from her family? Am I taking her away from her dreams? Am I taking, like, that was where my doubt of should I have been alone came from, was, oh no, maybe I'm like, for my pursuing of my purpose, which I'm really dedicated to, am I taking her away? That was where my doubt came from, that am I so selfish that maybe I should be doing my purpose alone? Why should I drag someone else on my journey?
And I actually think in the beginning I probably felt that way too. Like I probably, when we went to New York, it definitely felt like compromising, because I felt like the only thing I really had at that time in my life that I truly valued and felt I was very concrete in was my family, and that's what my whole life revolved around. And so I guess at the beginning, because I hadn't matured in my thoughts of what this relationship was, I did feel like that. And I remember there used to be times where I was like, well, I can't remember, but I'm sure that there were moments where in my mind I felt like, well, we have to go back for my family to do this because you've taken me away anyway. Like, you've taken me to New York, and so now we have to do this because I want to do this, or we have to, like, you need to do this for me because we've done this for you. And but I definitely, now looking back, I realized actually it was all so much more for like it. So I don't feel that way at all anymore. But I can, I can relate. I probably had those feelings a little bit at the beginning that you're probably feeling from me.
No, it's good. I think these are great conversations to have. And what's interesting about these conversations, though, is that sometimes you don't have them in the moment.
Yeah.
If you don't monitor that well, that could end up breaking something.
Definitely.
And we're lucky that it didn't.
I feel like it could have though. If I then didn't choose to like figure out what was going wrong with me, and I was projecting that all on you and making it feel like it was the issue was our relationship or the issue was you, but really it was me having a lack of awareness of myself that I had to do that. Otherwise, I think I would have constantly kept blaming it on that and constantly felt that way.
And I have so much admiration for you and respect for you because of that, because I think that it's so easy. I was always trying to compensate and help in whatever way I could, but I feel like you doing that is what's made our relationship so strong, is that you've just really worked hard on the last few years of finding yourself, discovering yourself, working, and you've tried a lot of things. Like it's not been easy. And, you know, I feel like I found my thing when I was 18 and I've been doing it for 15 years. And it's funny for me to think that, because a lot of people online are like, oh, Jay, you've only been doing this online for like 3 or 4 years. And I've been doing this for 15 years.